In this video, I'm going to clarify for you how many pages your resume should be so you can get more job interviews. Here are some basic guidelines on how long your resume should be. Just keep in mind, these are just guidelines. 1. For a high school student, high school graduate, you're looking at about 1 page because you may have limited work experience. If you're a college graduate, generally 1 page is sufficient unless you have a lot of work experience. Then we go into the number of years you've been working. If it's 5 to 10 years of experience, you can get away with 1 page if it's about 4 jobs or less. And there's a way to structure that because I was able to take 35 plus years and get it to 1 page. There's a way to do it. If you have 10 years or more of experience, then you're generally going to have 2 pages because then you want to tell a little more about what you've done, provide a little more detail. Now, it gets a little different when you shift into like government jobs because the government jobs are very specific. They're going to ask you for detailed information, and that can be anywhere from 3 to 8 pages. If you go into academia, scientific realm, that can be up to 15 pages because they're very specific. You're going to have to share your research, any presentations you've had, articles. They're going to ask for a lot of information. So that's why it can be up to 15 pages. They don't necessarily call it a resume. They call it a CV, but that's something completely different. So what I want to make very clear to you right now is unless it's a government job, academia job, or a scientific job, you generally have tremendous amount of flexibility when it comes to how many pages your resume should be in the different formats that a resume should be. And I'm not going to touch that here, so that's in another video. So we got the number of pages out of the way. I really wanted you to get that first because I know that's what you was looking for. So I really want to tell you that the number of pages do not matter. And I want to prove this to you right now so you can fully understand where I'm coming from. Because if you get stuck on, I need to create a number of pages, you're going to actually limit yourself. So this is a great reference. It's going to help you. When you pick a book to read, do you actually pick the book based on the number of pages? Okay. Or if you're listening to audiobooks, do you pick the book that you're going to listen to based on how long you have to listen to the book? The answer is no, you don't. You base your selection on the content of the book, whether it's written or audio. It is the same thing with your resume. It is the content of the resume that's more important, not how many pages you have on your resume. Also keep this in mind. Many companies require you to complete an online application. So the applicant tracking system, the ATS, it's parsing the information. It's collecting the content of your resume and putting that into their database. You ever notice when you upload your resume, it's processing when you click next, and then in the next page, they have pulled the information from your resume and populated certain fields. Well, that's parsing. So keep that in mind. If the ATS is reading your resume, then does it matter if it's 1, 2, or 3 pages? Now, let me ask you this simple question. If the ATS is reading your resume, would you rather present more information or less information to help it decide if you're the best candidate for the job? What do you think? You're going to want more information, right? So you can never have too much content on your resume. I understand that so many people over the years have pushed back on this with me. And I've stood my ground because their response is always the same. No one will read a long resume. You're crazy. And that is not true. It's not true because it's not accurate. No one is going to read a long, boring resume that does not capture their attention and showcase how what you bring will benefit the company. Okay? If it's boring and they can't see how they can benefit from it, of course they're not going to read it. So the key for you is to focus on your content. If you watch my previous videos, you have seen me mention at least 2 or 3 times the 3 key areas you need to focus on if you want to get more job interviews when it comes to your resume. The first one is format, the second one is structure, and the third is content. What you say and how you say it is critical and more important than the length of your resume. And my 35 plus years of experience, I can tell you it does not matter how many pages your resume will be. As long as you can tell your story and capture the attention of the human or the AI applicant tracking system. That's the key. And here's the thing you have to remember. If you cannot differentiate yourself from everyone else, it does not matter how many pages you have for a resume because no one is going to call you anyway. You're going to sound and look like everyone else. Here's your action steps. 1, I want you to spend 30 minutes and I want you to write down a few bullets of what makes you special. What makes you different from everyone that you currently work with or have worked with in the past? Take 30 minutes to do that. Write it down, type it into Word, Google Docs. I don't care what you do. Just make sure you get it out. 30 minutes. Then I want you to understand something. And I really need you to get this. There is something that you can do that other people cannot do. What is that? Think about it. Okay? Think about it because that's going to help you write your bullets. And finally, post your questions below about anything relating to resumes and what I just covered in this video. Do not allow yourself to stay focused on the number of pages. It's time for you to tell your story and tell your story in such a way that it makes employers want to contact you and not someone else. The number of pages you have in your resume is unimportant if the content you provide, the story you tell, captures someone's attention and gets them to call you for job interviews. See you in the next video.